Welcome back to The Dive. President Joe Biden has announced that he will make a final decision on his nomination for the Federal Reserve Chairman this week. What does this imply for the market? That will be addressed by our guest today. He will also deep dive into inflation, gold stocks, industrial metals, and some notable gold names. He is the founder and editor of Junior Mining Junkie. David Erfle is joining us today. But before we bring David on, just a quick reminder to smash that subscribe button for me, please. Hey, David, welcome back to The Dive.
Good. Great to see you. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so let's start off with the most recent news. US President Joe Biden announced this week that he will make a final decision on his nominee to head the Federal Reserve. What do you think will be the next, or who do you think will be the next Fed chair? And how do you think they will address the inflationary pressures?
Yeah, well, the betting line right now is I think it's 75% think that Powell's going to be renominated. His term's up in February, but my guess is that he's going to be replaced by the only Democrat on the 7 board member, super dovish Lael Brainerd. I think that's going to be the surprise, and it's probably going to be announced either Friday after the market or over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. So 2 federal presidents resigned in September amid ethical controversies. And Randall Quarles announced this week that he is also planning to resign from the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors when his 4-year term expires at the end of the year. What are your thoughts on several Fed members leaving their roles within the central bank?
Yeah, that's huge. I mentioned it in my article, my Kitco article last week. And also, if Powell is indeed replaced, I think he'll be gone too. So that's 4 members that the Biden administration can replace with super Democrat-leaning doves. So I think that's a very strong possibility, which will benefit the gold price because the inflation situation is obviously out of control, and the market is finally realizing it. And I don't see that situation getting any better. And as far as inflation is concerned, and as far as the stock market is concerned, it's very overvalued right now. And you've already seen some huge insider selling, the biggest one being Elon Musk, getting rid of a large portion of his wildly overvalued Tesla stock because they feel that, the Biden administration is already discussing, raising capital gains taxes next year, and also even discussing taxing unrealized capital gains of billionaires. So they see the writing on the wall, and there's a lot of profit there in wildly overvalued stocks. So all it takes is a little bit of that money coming into the tiny gold sector, and the mining sector could really take off. The gold stocks could really take off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the growing inflation threat has shifted sentiment in the gold market. How long do you believe this uptrend will last? And do you think gold will come under pressure?
Well, gold price now is eyeing the next significant level, which is 1900. I think if we get a monthly close above 1900, I think it's all systems go for the gold price. I mean, if you take a big step back, and you take a look at a 21-year chart of the gold price, the secular gold bull market began at the turn of the century when gold double bottomed at $250 an ounce. And then it took a decade to run to over $1,900 an ounce. That move consolidated, and it's taken a decade to consolidate. It's created this huge cup of a technical pattern called a cup and handle formation. And that cup is about a decade. And the handle formation, the top of the handle started when the gold price got to about $2,100 last August. And once the 2000 level becomes a floor, that'll be the completion of that handle. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the gold price run to $3,000 an ounce within the next couple of years.
Okay, while the precious metals market is becoming more positive, industrial metals like copper are seeing bearish bets from hedge funds. Some analysts have noted that softer economic activity in China is weighing on demand for copper. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Plus, if you take a look at the copper move, it made a huge move in a short amount of time, just like the silver price did. So that needs time to consolidate. And if the economy starts to come under pressure, which I believe it will, the Dr. Copper will signify that, and it might already be doing that because it's had a sharp move down recently, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it come under more pressure and some profit taking coming in to a lot of these copper stocks. The same thing with anything that's extreme overbought right now, which is just about everything but gold stocks. You're going to start to see a lot of profit being taken in any sector that's extreme overbought.
Hmm. So when you're looking for a junior mining company, how can you stay away from the lemons?
Oh, great question. Because I feel that 85 to 90% of the junior sector are lemons. A lot of these companies really don't have viable projects, but the ones that do, when you know what you're doing, you get into one that has the goods and they have the management team. That's the number one thing. You got to make sure that they have a strong management team that has done this before, that has taken a company from either discovery to construction, or basically to development to production, and they have access to capital, and they've made shareholders a lot of money in the past. Those are the companies you want to gravitate towards, especially if they operate in top tier jurisdictions. They maintain tight share structures because a lot of these companies, they can issue way too many shares, which limits the upside in the stock. So there's a lot of things you have to look at. But
Hmm.
you usually start with management and their track record.
Management. Okay. Do you have any gold names worth mentioning that you could share?
Oh, sure. There's a couple that I went into detail on in my column, my Kitco column a few weeks ago. The first one is Bluestone Resources. They're constructing a gold mine in Guatemala, and
Okay.
the team that's doing it is the Lundin Mining Group, which is a very successful mining group, and they're close to getting a mining permit. They've had to restructure this mining permit because they've also got an underground component now. The project got bigger. They've got
Mm.
access to capital. They've got about 28 million cash right now to get them into that permit decision, and then start construction once they get it. And the
Mhm.
other one is Bear Creek Mining.
Okay.
That's one that is in Peru, and Peru's had a lot of political problems recently, but they recently got the go-ahead by Pedro Castillo, the new president there, that has given the go-ahead on the project. And thankfully, I got myself and my subscribers into this stock before it had a huge move based on that news. And
Mhm.
they are at the finance stages right now as we speak. So they're in the process of putting together a finance package.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. So one more thing before we let you go here, David. Do you know, or could you let us know where our viewers could subscribe to know more about your trading activities?
Sure. My website is juniorminerjunkie.com. It's junkie with a Y. And I also have a weekly column comes out on Kitco every Friday. And that you can find my information there as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming on today and updating us with the latest.
Thanks again for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more great content, so be sure to stay tuned by hitting that notification bell and subscribing below.